So good afternoon, everyone. I'm Ananta Chandrakasan. I am the provost at MIT. And I'd like to welcome all of you, members of the National Academy of Engineering, MIT faculty, staff, and alumni, and friends and colleagues of Professor Alan Hatton. It's a true honor to be joined by NAE President Sujay Liu and Executive Officer Al Romig, as well as Simon Pitts, the Program Director for the Gordon Institute of Engineering Leadership at Northeastern, and Lance Collins, the Chair of the Gordon Prize Committee. It's great to be here with all of you for this terrific ceremony. I'd like to express my sincere gratitude to the National Academy of Engineering and the Gordon Foundation for their deep commitment to engineering education. And most importantly, I want to congratulate Alan, both for receiving this wonderful award and also for his outstanding leadership of the David H. Koch School of Chemical Engineering Practice. So congratulations. For 110 years, the practice school has exemplified MIT's commitment to hands-on, problem-driven learning. It has been transformative, both for its students and for the industries where they've gone on to lead. You will hear more about it from Paula in just a moment, but suffice it to say, the practice school really does embody MIT's motto of mens et manus, mind and hand. The Gordon Prize is a wonderful recognition of the program and of Alan's leadership. Bernard Gordon's pioneering work in high-speed analog to digital conversion led to breakthroughs in a number of areas. And analog to digital is also a great way to describe what Alan did for the practice school. He modernized the program, both to address the new and changing needs of industry, and to ensure that students left MIT fully ready to tackle the latest chemical engineering challenges. I also look forward to watching the practice school's continued evolution and success, now under the leadership of Professor Vic Brichette, thanks in part to the support of the Gordon Prize. I'd also like to acknowledge the strong support from Christella Prather, the head of chemical engineering. Finally, I want to say how pleased we are to be hosting tomorrow's regional meeting, which will also be held in this room. I know it'll be a great, productive day. Now I'd like to hand things over to Paula Hammond, the Dean of the MIT School of Engineering, an alum, and former head of MIT's Department of Chemical Engineering. Paula, over to you.
Thank you so much, Ananta. And greetings to our engineering community, including our National Academy members, all of our MIT chemical engineering community members and alumni, and the greater Boston engineering community. It is such an honor to open this event honoring our very own Alan Hatton as the 2026 Bernard M. Gordon Prize recipient. So I have known our honoree, Alan Hatton, since I was an undergrad at MIT in course 10, which is chemical engineering for those of you not MIT native. He taught me in the engineering core curriculum, and he was my faculty advisor for my 1026 class project, which involved creating a protein separations microreactor involving bubbling PEG aqueous solution droplets through a column and measuring protein concentrations. It is remarkable that I not only have very real memories of our pieced together staged bubbler and an even more vivid memory of Alan's ability to encourage us, engage us, and the connections that the work made to industrial separations problems. His humor and patience and ability to make the engineering real to our 1026 team by describing industrial systems and their limitations. I was also able to observe when Alan took on the practice school as its director. At the time, he had big footsteps to fill in following Professor Jeff Tester's tenure. But he immediately not only took on the mission of the practice school of engaging our chemical engineering master's and PhD students in an experience that allowed them to experience real-life industrial problems, but he expanded it in meaningful ways by introducing new emphases on team building, on communications and professional development. Alan also brought the practice school to the world, quite literally, as anyone would know if they know his airline miles, okay? He introduced new stations in places as far and distant as Singapore, Australia, Ireland, and as close as down the street in our very own active local industrial sector. Over these 30-plus years that Alan has served as the director of the practice school, which is almost a third of its entire time of existence, right? Alan shaped it and innovated its structure and format, forging a forward-thinking and highly relevant educational experience that truly represents mens et manus. The practice school served as a template for engineering education for experiential and technical learning in real engineering settings, providing students global opportunities to shape applications from biotech and pharma to chemical and materials manufacturing, consumer products, and even to our national research laboratories. The greatest testimony is the students that were a product of Alan's efforts, some of whom are in this room right now. And I'm sure we'll hear more about that later on as the night progresses. It has been a pleasure to know Alan as a teacher, then later as a fellow faculty colleague and a former head of the department. I am proud and honored to be his colleague. He truly deserves this national recognition of his contributions. Thank you, Alan. It is now my pleasure to introduce Dr. Sujay Liu, President of the National Academy of Engineering. Dr. Liu is a trailblazing researcher, educator, and academic leader whose work has helped define modern microelectronics and the future of computing. She earned her bachelor's, master's, and doctoral degrees in electrical engineering from Stanford University and began her career on the research staff at the Xerox Palo Alto Research Center before joining the faculty at UC Berkeley in 1996. At Berkeley, she has been a central figure in the Department of Electrical Engineering and Computer Sciences, and most recently served as Dean of the College of Engineering from 2018 to 2025. Dr. Liu is perhaps best known as co-inventor of the FinFET transistor, a breakthrough that powers the microprocessors in nearly every modern smartphone and computer. Her impact as a researcher is extraordinary, with more than 550 publications and nearly 100 US patents that have advanced computing and memory technologies. Her contributions have been recognized with numerous honors. She's a member of the National Academy of Engineering, the National Academy of Inventors, and IEEE. Beyond her research, Dr. Liu has been a national leader as an advocate for domestic microelectronics workforce development, and as a member of advisory committees for the NSF, the National Institute of Standards and Technology, and the President's Council of Advisors on Science and Technology. So please join me in welcoming Dr. Liu.
Thank you so much for that gracious introduction, Dean Hammond. And good afternoon, everyone. It's my pleasure as President of the National Academy of Engineering to welcome our award recipient, Professor Hatton, as well as his family, his friends, colleagues, and guests to this Gordon Prize ceremony. I'd like to sincerely thank the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, Provost Anantha Chandrakasan, and Dean Paula Hammond for hosting this splendid event. I also want to recognize the 2026 Gordon Prize Committee Chair, Lance Collins, Vice President for the Greater Washington, D.C. area at Virginia Tech. Also, committee members John William Poduska, Sr., right there, thank you. David Spencer, who is Chairman of the Board at WTE Corporation, retired, thank you. NAE Vice President Wesley Harris, and who is Charles Stark Draper Professor of Aeronautics and Astronautics at MIT, and last but not least, NAE Executive Officer Al Romig. Unfortunately, Bernard Gordon himself is unable to join us this afternoon, but he sends his sincere congratulations. We are pleased to welcome his colleague, Professor Simon Pitts, who represents the Gordon Foundation. Professor Pitts is director and head of the Gordon Institute of Engineering Leadership at Northeastern University, and he was the Gordon Prize recipient in the year 2015. Now, this is a special milestone year as we celebrate 25 years of leadership and lasting impact through the National Academy of Engineering's Bernard M. Gordon Prize for Innovation in Engineering and Technology Education. There's a note marking this milestone anniversary in the spring edition of the NAE's journal, The Bridge, that I hope that you all can take a look at. This evening, we celebrate not only this distinguished award, but also the vision behind it. So let us take a moment now to learn more about the remarkable engineer whose legacy has made this possible.
Engineering shapes the world around us, but the breakthroughs that move society forward do not happen by knowledge alone. They require engineers who can lead, engineers who can transform ideas into impact. That vision inspired one of engineering's most influential innovators, Bernard M. Gordon. An inventor, entrepreneur, and philanthropist, Bernard M. Gordon founded and helped build multiple technology companies, was granted more than 200 patents, and was awarded the National Medal of Technology. Throughout his career, Gordon saw firsthand that the most successful engineers were not defined by technical knowledge alone. They possessed something more.
There's an old phrase that it takes knowledge, skills, and attitude to be a successful engineer, let alone an engineering leader.
Gordon believed engineering education needed to cultivate that full combination: knowledge, skills, leadership. So, in partnership with the National Academy of Engineering, he established a prize to recognize educators who are transforming how engineers are prepared for the real world. In 2001, the National Academy of Engineering inaugurated the Bernard M. Gordon Prize for Innovation in Engineering and Technology Education. Awarded annually, the Gordon Prize honors educators who are pioneering new approaches to teaching engineering leadership. With a $500,000 award, it is one of the most prestigious prizes in engineering education.
The award was created to recognize professors, teachers in technical institutions who understood that there was much more to engineering than learning theory.
Gordon Prize recipients rethink what engineering education can be. They design programs that immerse students in real-world challenges. They build bridges between academia and industry. They prepare students not just to solve problems, but to lead teams, launch technologies, and shape the future.
This attitude, you don't get born with it. It's one that gets developed by your teachers, the successes of your jobs.
Leadership in engineering does not require every engineer to lead, but it does require enough leaders to move innovation forward. The Gordon Prize celebrates educators who create those leaders.
It does not take a large percentage of engineers to be leaders. If you can get 1 in 20 engineers to have the capability, the desire, the will to be the leader, you increase the productivity tremendously.
In an era defined by technological change, engineering leadership is more important than ever. The educators recognized by the Gordon Prize are strengthening the nation's innovation ecosystem. They are preparing engineers who can transform discovery into solutions that improve lives, grow industries, and strengthen global competitiveness. Through their work, thousands of students have developed the confidence and capabilities to lead engineering in the 21st century. Every Gordon Prize laureate carries forward Bernard M. Gordon's vision for engineering education, a vision that empowers the next generation of engineering leaders. Congratulations to this year's winner of the Gordon Prize.
Okay, I lost my place. Pardon me. That was an inspiring look at the legacy and vision behind the Gordon Prize. It is now my pleasure to continue our program by introducing our next speaker, NAE member Monty M. Alger, Professor Emeritus from Pennsylvania State University. Monty served as the nominator for this year's prize winner. Monty, joined by students and supporters, will offer reflections on the practice school. Please join me in welcoming Professor Monty Alger to the stage.
Thank you very much. Many years ago, a student described the practice school. He said it's like standing up in front of a group of people your father's age and telling them what they're doing wrong. And that really captures the essence of what is the practice school. So I've seen this program from a number of different angles. I was a student in the program, then a station director at GE Plastics, and then the technology leader at the two GE businesses where the station was hosted. And over many years and many experiences, the conclusions I came to and many of my friends have come to is it's when you put young people together with people in experience, remarkably transformative things happen. They both get smarter. Students learn about the idea of judgment, building confidence, how to present, leadership, and most importantly, to gain an appreciation for the human side of engineering. Very important. So when a group of us got together to write this nomination for Alan in the chemical engineering department, it was actually really simple to do. There's so much here. There's such a long history, and what Alan has done over the last 30-plus years has been quite remarkable. So all we had to do was write it down. So I'll share a few of the specifics. So first of all, Alan was director of the practice school program from 36 years. Where is Alan, by the way? I do have a number of additional things I will say to Alan after the ceremony. 36 years. And under his leadership, the program has grown to over 3,500 graduates and a total of 100 industrial stations. And the program has been intact for over 100 years and has retained a one-month project model, which is quite remarkable and a great way to get things done. But Alan, at the same time, realizing that you can't stay static, was continually involved in renewing the program, thinking about new ways to make the program effective. He expanded it to other industries. He expanded globally and pushed students into new areas that they might not have ever experienced, especially broadening their horizons about what is a chemical engineer and what can a chemical engineer do. He changed the way stations are run. It used to be run by a recent PhD graduate, and now he's brought in directors as retired people from industry who act as station directors. They work with the host companies. They act as mentors to students and help balance the good times and the bad times. Much different program than what is a co-op program. He also introduced a course, 10801. It's the Practice School Prep program. It's a program that now provides students with a background in how to do project management, communication, data analytics, and most recently looking at how do we integrate AI into engineering practice and judgment. And ultimately, we seek to have students prepared as they enter stations to be contributors and be able to do new things and actually not just be learning at stations, but actually bring new ideas and perspectives so it turns into a truly bi-directional exchange. And what's happening today as we look forward, AI is shaping every industry. The world is changing quite dramatically. And the challenge today is not teaching engineers new tools. It's helping them to figure out how should organizations work. How do they become better engineers? How do they incorporate technology into how they solve problems? How they use their engineering skills in more effective, intelligent ways. These are not things you learn from a lecture. These are things you learn from practice. These are things the practice school offers to students in a quite remarkable way. So the inversion that's underway and where the practice school has been and where it's going. The model we have today is we teach people skills, and then they go out and they learn how to solve problems and discover a career following. That's being inverted today with what's underway. The world is much more about find a problem and then acquire and learn how to apply skills to solve those problems. And those skills are not just engineering skills. There's a broad range of skills in addition to just technical skills. And with that change underway, there's such an opportunity to bring experienced engineers together with young people. And again, as I've mentioned, both get smarter. There's some, it's, I don't know, it's a second law or something. It violates some law, but they both get smarter. And it's quite a remarkable thing to behold when you see young students working with senior people. And it's almost, I won't say anymore, I'll get in trouble. So anyway, Alan introduced a number of these innovations, a flexible station model, and so forth. There's a major opportunity as we look forward with the practice school. Practice school is not just a program for teaching students and giving them an MS degree. It actually is an opportunity to think of building a brand new platform for connecting companies, industries, all the way through back in through basic research, and having students be more like the electrons in a power grid. It can actually be a system where we can connect all these different people and have a scalable model but retains local human interaction. And all of this is possible, and the Gordon Prize has been a great step forward and is very much well-deserved, but it provides this opportunity for MIT then to build on what it's done best for many years, which is to integrate science, engineering, education with an industrial practice. And so I'd like to congratulate Alan and MIT. It's, well, I'm all tied up. Well-deserved, and congratulations to you and also the Department of Chemical Engineering. It's a wonderful program, and we all look forward to who's going to give this speech in 50 years. Thank you very much.
You're smiling now. So one of Alan's favorite lines is one some of you may have heard of a few times. Actually comes from his predecessor, Professor Jeff Tester, back in the 1980s. There are two types of chemical engineer: those who went to practice school and those who should have gone to practice school. I like to think Alan dropped this line into every presentation he gave for the last 36 years. I've heard him deliver it at recruiting events, at orientations, industry dinners. He always paused for a laugh, and he always got it. But I think tonight is the night to ask the question, what is it about the practice school that unlocks in these chemical engineers? What is it? What does this tale of two engineers ring true? So let me share my perspective as a former student. In the classroom, we learn to solve well-defined problems. It's not a small thing. Learning to manage complexity, to set up the balance, solve the equations is the work of becoming an engineer. But the problems we solve in the classroom come pre-scoped. The inputs are listed, the objective is stated. We draw a box around the answer and call the job done. The real world, problems have to be actively pursued. They have to be hunted down, otherwise they have a tendency to blindside you. Most of the work, maybe more than we're often willing to admit, is discovering there's a problem in the first place. After that, more important is framing it, communicating it, executing on a solution that will actually stick. That is not a footnote to chemical engineering, that is the job. Practice school is the part of the MIT education that teaches that job. You arrive at a site on a Monday. You quickly learn the problem you were given is not the real problem. By Friday, if you're any good, you've discovered the real problem. And you have 4 weeks to define it, solve it, present it, and then ensure people adopt it. Ensure those people whose operations depend on whether you got it right. Repeat this process 3 more times, and what comes out the other side is something the classroom cannot easily teach. It's this ability to operate and execute in the midst of uncertainty. That skill is about to become a lot more valuable. In Jeff Tester's day, the personal computer was redefining how engineers solved problems. Today, AI is doing much the same thing. The tools will keep evolving. They'll keep compressing the scope of solving the well-defined part of the problem. But what they will not compress is the very human work of hunting that problem down, being accountable for and standing behind its solution, and bringing other people along with you. If anything, that work becomes more important every year. The practice school has been training engineers that garbage in means garbage out long before it was fashionable to talk about. So none of this exists without Alan. For 36 years, he insisted, gently but relentlessly, to uncover the real problem. He taught generations of us to distrust the tidy answer and respect the messy one. The Gordon Prize is awarded for innovation in engineering education, and I want to suggest that Alan earned it by refusing to let engineering education be anything other than real. And the program is in excellent hands. Fig Brachet is carrying it forwards into a world with many new problems, a very exciting set of new tools, but an enduring thirst for well-trained chemical engineers. Alan built something bigger than himself, and that is the highest compliment I know how to pay. So Alan, on behalf of every engineer who went to practice school and every engineer who should have gone, thank you. Thank you for teaching us to execute in the midst of uncertainty. Congratulations on the Gordon Prize. It has been a long time coming, and it could not possibly be more well-deserved. I'd like to introduce the next speaker, Mike.
Hi, I'm Mike Thean. I was in Alan's first cohort of students. And when I got to MIT, I had gone to undergraduate school at Caltech. I'd taken a year off and worked for Kodak. And when I got to MIT and I went to see Jeff, Jeff said, you really should not go to practice school because you've already done a year in industry. Give it to somebody else. So I'm one of the engineers that should have but couldn't go to practice school. I'll also admit I'm a bit of a pedagogy nerd, right? When we think about experiential learning, certainly it's a critical means of education, and I did some research. In its best form, it has 3 key parts. It has the hands-on experience, it has the mentoring of that experience, and it has self-guided reflection about that experience. And it is so important, this experiential learning, that it's at the core of a variety of diverse professions. Think about the medical and psychological professions, the military, and the arts, just to name a few. And traditionally, the practice school has knowingly or unknowingly, I'm not sure, featured all of the critical elements for experiential learning. The stations were the venues for hands-on practice, the directors served as the mentors for that experience, and reports and presentations served as vehicles for team-guided reflection. Now, when Alan took over the practice school 36 years ago, he inherited a well-running experiential learning opportunity that was focused on the American chemical engineering experience. Now, Alan could have seen himself as a custodian of this well-established program and taken some more time by the pool, learned a little bit more about wine, whatever. But no, not Alan. Alan chose to be much more than a custodian. Alan innovated how the practice school would run and what that experience would be. He took each one of those critical components of the practice school and recreated them. The part about the hands-on experience, the stations, right? Alan went out of his way to make sure that the stations were relevant for the modern chemical engineering experience. Going beyond the basic sciences of chemical engineering, of physics and chemistry, looking to biology, electronics, material science, even planetary and geological sciences. Alan also made sure that the program invested in getting high-quality site directors, well beyond the graduate students that they'd had, so that these directors could provide the mentoring experience that the students would need when they were thrust in to this 4-week experience, not having really experienced industry before, and now being looked for to provide solutions to problems that had stymied their host companies. And finally, Alan also ensured that the students got the benefit of team dynamic understanding, right? That there was an investment in how students should be working together, how they should be working as teams. And certainly, I know from being on the advisory board of the practice school, the interactions between students were sometimes suboptimal, and there was a lot to be learned in that self-guided reflection. I was at Merck for many years, and Merck played host to many practice school stations around the world. And by participating in that, I got to see firsthand the power of this experiential learning opportunity and the benefits that could be gained by all the parties involved. It was amazing, but in a single practice school station experience, we would watch students grow in confidence, practicality, and impact. We would have the benefit of having new eyes look on challenges that had really stumped us for years, while also having the opportunity for us to share our experiences and our cultures with the students. I remain convinced that this updated and expanded experiential learning provided a pivotal experience to the engineers that had it. And that's not just my opinion. Practice school graduates, wherever they meet, are happy to tell anybody who will listen to them about how the breadths of fields, the introduction to new cultures, the applied nature of the work in real settings, and in a variety of industries changed how they viewed their work and their career possibilities. Now, providing this innovative experiential learning wasn't free. It took years of experience, and I have to make the obligatory joke, years of experience and millions of flight miles. Lining up sites with appropriate projects, and I can say this from the inside, from being a host company, lining up sites with appropriate projects and in-company support, not easy. Getting high-quality site directors, ensuring students had cars and suitable living quarters, working out visa situations, ensuring students knew the basics of the cultures in which they would be immersed in, and on and on. Alan oversaw the planning and logistics for all of those facets. And one thing I really credit him is he always took accountability for the results, when they were good and sometimes when they were not. And so on behalf of the practice school host companies of Alan's era, Alan's epoch, I'm not sure what we're going to call it yet, and if I may, on behalf of those who are privileged to get this rare experiential learning in engineering, I want to thank you, Alan, for making a robust experiential learning opportunity that stayed modern and has students looking forward to what chemical engineering can be and not what it has been. This is truly a well-deserved award, and I want to thank you on behalf of, again, the host companies and students everywhere. Thank you, Alan.
Hello. So, my name is Bob Hanlon. I'd like to start in the summer of 1982. I was a practice school student, first at General Electric in Albany, with Monty Alger as my station director, and then at Bethlehem Steel in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. It was my first real exposure to industry, and I still remember the feeling, physically gathering samples in the plant, running analyses, and slowly figuring out the root cause of the real problem. That experience made engineering very real to me, and I loved it. It was a couple of years later, in 1984, when I first met Alan at the Brookhaven National Lab. They were hosting the practice school program with Alan serving as station director, and at the time, I didn't know how significant that meeting would become for my life. I went on to spend 23 years in industry, including roles at Mobil Oil and Roman Haas, and I stayed connected to the practice school as recruiter for both companies. Then in 2010, I was at a transition point in my career. Alan heard about it, reached out with an opportunity to return, and this time as a station director. That call changed the trajectory of my life, and I've never looked back. Over the next 16 years, I've had the privilege of working closely with Alan. The best way I can describe his leadership is this: he was the captain of the ship. He set a clear direction, but he trusted the people around him to navigate, adapt, and improve the system along the way. And that trust mattered. I came from an industry background where continuous improvement was a way of life. I brought ideas from this background into the practice school program about structure, about processes, how to operate more effectively. Alan and I would talk about them, talk them through, refine them, and then implement them. What stood out to me was how Alan approached change. He didn't impose it, he allowed it to emerge. At one point, we worked together to formalize guidance for the station directors. Given my background, I initially called them standard operating procedures. Alan gently suggested that we call them guidelines instead. That small change captured something very important. Every station director brings a different experience, different judgment, different strengths to the practice school, and that diversity is what makes the program stronger. That philosophy is at the heart of what makes practice schools so effective. And there's another philosophy, perhaps the most important one, perhaps to me, that makes practice schools so effective is this: we intentionally give students more than they can handle with their current skill set. Not to overwhelm them, but to force growth, to push them to develop new ways of thinking, communicating, and leading. And we don't leave that growth to chance. For example, midway through each project, we sit down with the students one-on-one and ask a very simple question: what's not working for you right now? It's deceptively powerful, that question. It forces reflection, it surfaces gaps, and most importantly, it creates ownership. I remember one student in particular. She told me she was intimidated by her teammate. He was a large person, over 6 feet tall, physically imposing, and it was affecting how she contributed to the project. I asked her, well, what are you going to do about it? And she said, well, maybe I should talk with him, maybe early next week. I asked her, well, is he in the office right now? And she said yes. And I said, then why not talk with him right now? She looked at me with absolute panic at that moment. But to her credit, she went down there and spoke with him. She had the conversation, and just like that, the issue dissolved. They worked effectively together, and the project moved forward. More importantly, that moment became one of her biggest learnings in practice school: the value of timely communication, something she carried with her beyond the program. And that's what the educational model does. The station directors are not there to criticize students. We're there to help them see the gap between where they are and where excellence is, and then challenge them to close the gap in real time under real conditions. That's a fundamentally different way of learning education, learning engineering. And that's what Alan's leadership built. Alan created an environment where engineers are developed, not just technically, but as professionals, as decision makers, and as leaders. It's been one of the great privileges of my career to be part of that effort and to work alongside Alan in shaping and evolving this program. Alan, thank you for your leadership, your trust, and the opportunity to be part of something that has had such a lasting impact on so many of us. Thank you.
All right, thank you all so much. Thank you, Bob, Mike, Cameron, and Monty for sharing your inspiring stories and learnings from the practice school under Alan's leadership. Really, really remarkable. And thank you so much for your support of our program. All right, so this afternoon, we celebrate the accomplishments of an extraordinary engineering educator, Professor T. Alan Hatton, whose visionary leadership has redefined how engineers are trained by blending rigorous academics with practical industry experience and to prepare generations of innovators and problem solvers. Please join me in welcoming Lance Collins and Simon Pitts to the stage. And before the prize presentation, Simon will share a few words on behalf of Mr. Gordon and reflect on his enduring legacy.
This is where I break the microphone. No, it just sounds like it's going to break. So, good afternoon, everybody. I'm delighted to be here with you to congratulate Alan, not only on my behalf, but on Bernie Gordon's behalf, for a very, very well-deserved Gordon Prize. And the details we've just heard, I think, really show how perfectly aligned it is with the goals of the prize. So congratulations, Alan. So Bernie would have loved to have been here today. On March the 19th, he celebrated his 99th birthday. And although he's very young at heart, he has a few mobility challenges. So unfortunately for you, he sent me instead. So a little bit on Bernie's legacy. So Bernie's been a practicing engineering leader for 70 years, which is unsettling to me. His legacy really falls in two discrete sectors. The first one is building pioneering, innovative companies that then provide society with successful products. And that's not easy to replicate. So Bernie really changed the world through forming his companies. EBSCO was the first one, then Gordon Engineering, Analogic Corporation, Neurologica, which he then sold to Samsung, and PDSI. So with those companies, he's brought an amazing amount of innovation to society. His earliest contributions were with the UNIVAC. So that was the first commercial digital computer with the Eckert-Mauchly Computer Company. And Presper Eckert, I think Bernie views his work with him as an apprenticeship. And you saw in the video a picture of a very young Bernie Gordon with a group of people. They were the 25 people, including the admin, who took that computer from a clean sheet of paper into production with no prototypes. So from that experience, he basically brought forward things like alphanumeric dot matrix screens, originally fetal heart monitors, and the core of modern imaging, both in the medical field and then after 9/11, when everybody needed to transfer that in a hurry to security field. He was the only guy that could actually produce a product in 6 months at scale. So he's really, for me, a model of the key, creative, and essential role of the engineer in the development and deployment of new technology. So that's a whole part of his legacy. The second part of his legacy is his investment in engineering leadership education. So having experienced the joy of hiring people that he thought could do a job and found that they couldn't, he got into the education game personally and quickly over those 7 decades. So in addition to the NAE prize that we're celebrating today, he formed his own foundation in the early 80s because he knew that he could do it really, really well, and he did. He gifted that to Tufts University, and that has progressed, and it's now the Tufts Gordon Institute. He founded the Northeastern Gordon Institute, which I lead. He founded the Gordon Engineering Leadership Program here at MIT. He founded the Center for Systems Leadership Engineering at the Technion, and further programs at UCSD, the Citadel, Penn State, WPI, and a few others. So he really leaned in to closing a gap that he saw as he was building these companies and products. So in summary, Bernie's legacy is really a combination of what he has achieved and what the students, both current and future students, of all of his programs will achieve in society. So quite a legacy. And with that, I'll hand over.
Thank you so much, Simon, for being here on behalf of Mr. Gordon. Before we present the Gordon Prize, I'd like to mention that it includes a $500,000 award to be shared between the recipient and their institution to support the continued growth and impact of the innovative program. The recipient is also honored with a commemorative medallion and certificate and is invited to present a public lecture on their prize-winning work at an upcoming NAE event. And now, without further ado, we honor Professor T. Alan Hatton, recipient of the 2026 Bernard M. Gordon Prize for Innovation in Engineering and Technology Education. His citation reads, "For advancing an immersive, industry-integrated education model that has produced thousands of engineering leaders, strengthening U.S. technological competitiveness and workforce readiness." Alan has transformed engineering education through his leadership of MIT's David H. Koch School of Chemical Engineering Practice, an immersive program that places student teams in industry to solve real-world challenges. By combining rigorous coursework with hands-on projects, it develops engineers who are not only technically strong, but also skilled in leadership, as well as communication and teamwork. Its graduates have gone on to lead innovation across industries, from biotechnology to energy, helping the U.S. stay strong globally and ready to meet new challenges. Alan is the Ralph Landau Professor of Chemical Engineering Practice post-tenure at MIT. He earned his degrees in South Africa and his PhD from the University of Wisconsin-Madison, joining MIT in 1982. He has led the practice school for more than 3 decades and helped expand its model internationally, including through the Singapore MIT Alliance and Cambridge MIT Institute. He is a prolific researcher with more than 500 publications authored, and he holds 60 patents. His work spans advanced materials, water treatment, and carbon capture technologies. His lab has launched 3 startups, Verdox, Mantle Capture, and Solvanic, focused on innovative approaches to carbon capture and resource recovery. Please welcome Professor T. Alan Hatton to the stage.
Well, thank you, everyone, for these warm words of congratulations and support. I think a little fact-checking is needed here and there, but we'll leave that for later. It is truly an honor to accept this incredible award on the behalf of the School of Chemical Engineering Practice and on behalf of all who have contributed to a successful evolution over the decades. As you've heard, this is a truly unique program that has led to the education and professional growth of almost 4,000 students over the past century and launched many of the titans of industry, academia, and in government. Thank you, Bernard Gordon, for your generous support of this award, recognizing the importance of engineering education for the future strength of our society. Brief history. The practice school was established in 1916. Arthur D. Little, on his first job assignment at a paper mill, quickly recognized that his excellent education in the science and principles of chemical engineering did not prepare him at all for the actual practice of chemical engineering. So in 1916, he and William Walker put in place the practice school program to address this educational deficiency. As we said, we recognize that the operational details have undergone changes over the decades in response to the change in economic and industrial demands. The underlying principles have not been compromised at all, and the program still strives to meet the ideals espoused so long ago. As noted at the earlier talks, the station directors are a crucial, not-so-secret source in the success of the program. And I give my heartfelt thanks to them all for their contributions and dedication to the program and to the students. Thank you. I treasure these long-standing personal friendships that I've developed with many of these colleagues over the years. That includes you, Tom. Yep. Bob Hanlon must be singled out for his tremendous help at the station and station director recruitment over the past 15 years, and for establishing our invaluable course on project management and problem solving. This will be the foundation for further expansion of our program, facilitated by the Gordon Prize Award. Thank you. A great strength of the program structure is its flexibility and versatility, and in being able to respond to changing industrial needs and indeed to changing industries, as we've heard from other speakers. We look forward to deploying the Gordon Prize Award funds to probe ways to further enhance and expand the program, and have formed a committee comprised of academic and industrial leaders to explore the most effective ways to do so. Now, in 1989, I reluctantly agreed to be a program director. I did it for a 3-year stint, but soon became quite enamored of the program and carried on for another 33 years. It has been a wonderful journey, invigorating always, but also challenging as we navigated the vagaries of international economies, adapted to different cultural norms of hosting companies and countries, new communications and other technologies, and not so occasionally to student antics. But I would not have wished for anything else. I sincerely hope that my success at Fic Brochet derives as much pleasure and satisfaction from running the program as I have over the years. Now, I have cherished the long-term support and friendship of 2 practice school administrative assistants, Carol Phillips and Beth Tutz. They defined how the practice school should interface smoothly with students, staff, and companies, and have had an enduring and lasting impact on the lives of over 1,000 students over the past 3.5 decades. And thank you, Amanda Benzel, for continuing their good work. Without the students, of course, we would have no program. I want to recognize the thousands for their intellectual curiosity, their creativity, and their work ethic. With grit and determination, they invariably delivered results under tight timelines and beyond expectations. I think mostly at the expense of sleep, of course, but if they were young, so they could handle that. They are the true stars of the program, and we deeply appreciate their contributions. Similarly, we would not have a program if it were not for the depth of engagement of the hosting companies. They open their facilities and resources to provide a crucial home, challenging projects, and strong mentoring for the students. Their sponsorship is invaluable, and we thank them for it. As in any academic pursuit, success or otherwise depends on strong departmental support, and here I've been very fortunate to have had the strong backing of 5 department heads: Bob Brown, Bob Armstrong, Klaus Jensen, Paula Hammond, and Chris Prather. I take comfort in knowing that I survived working with them all. Of course, without the strong support and understanding of my lovely wife, Marianne, and 2 children, Ross and Kent. I would never have been able to juggle the conflicting demands of a hectic globe-trotting schedule and with those of a family life. Thank you for all your loving support, Marianne. You have no idea how much I value your being by my side for the past 50 years and 1 week exactly. I am sorry, of course, that I was never around to help you contend with all those household disasters, heavy snowfalls, flooding basements, etc., etc. Well, actually, maybe I was relieved just a little not to have missed them. And I'm sorry for my son, Kent, that I missed all those birthdays too. Now, I would like to take a few moments to thank Monty Elger for spearheading the nomination for this award and for all of those who helped in this process. Bob Hanlon, Beth Tutz, Amanda Benzel, Melanie Kaufman, and many others, and also those who took the time to write strong supporting letters. A very big thank you. Finally, I would especially like to thank the NAE Gordon Prize Selection Committee for according the practice school this great honor and for providing the incentive to further the goals of the program and expand its reach. Thank you so much for all your support. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Alan, for inspiring all of us. We are incredibly happy for you and Marianne. We know that you share this honor. So once again, also our sincere thanks to Dr. Liu and the National Academy of Engineering for bringing us together to celebrate Professor Hatton and his accomplishments. We invite you to continue the festivities with us at the reception on the 7th floor where we can carry forward the conversation and celebration. Thanks again, and congratulations again, Alan. Thank you.